we're going back to General Motors because they've been in the news, as they are every day. Big Bob Lutz came out, and first he said about a month ago, maybe, that the future of GM's much-anticipated rear-wheel drive vehicles...
They're life-saving rear-wheel drive vehicles.
Right, life-saving rear-wheel drive vehicles that are based on the Zeta platform were under threat because of all these new fuel economy proposals.
Potential
fuel economy proposals being pushed through Congress, and, you can't build a high-horsepower rear-wheel car. And anyway, so we all thought that, the vehicles like the Pontiac G8, the rear-wheel drive Impala, even the Camaro were in jeopardy because of these proposed fuel economy standards. So then Bob Lutz comes out and says, okay, they're not threatened, but maybe their drivetrains are. We're going to have to tweak what engines we offer with them to meet fuel economy standards, which, hello, Captain Obvious. Why wouldn't you deal with the drivetrains before axing the entire platform?
Oh, my God.
I think that may have been an overreaction in the first place. And GM, I don't think anyone would argue that GM is great with powertrains and drivetrains, and they're even showing their mettle now in hybrid drivetrains with the new 2-mode. So, of all companies, I would think that they would be well armed to deal with whatever fuel economy proposals come down the pike, even if it's with these rear-wheel drive platforms. So, I mean, they have the 2-mode hybrid is obviously killer. They have diesels they could use. Everybody has diesels they could use with a little tweaking. GM particularly has a diesel V6 that was announced for the Zetas at the Geneva Motor Show in March. 406 pound-feet of torque. That's not that bad. 40 miles per gallon. I'll take that in my Impala.
Yeah, that would be perfectly acceptable.
Totally. Then throw the hybrid system on that, and then we're talking. But so apparently they're going to be made. The G8, the Impala, the Camaro, all of that.
They're all coming. The Impala is going to be a year later. The G8's going to come first, or the G8 will come around the same time as the Camaro.
Well, we also heard that the Impala, and this was total speculation and rumor, but we also heard that the Impala may have been delayed an extra year and won't debut until 2010 rather than 2009.
Yeah, I mean, I think that fact is probably true. As far as the big speculation is the reasoning, which who really cares? But since we're talking about the powertrain thing, if they're delaying it, I could totally see, and some commenters pointed this out, I have to agree with them on this point, that it would make sense if they were delaying it to get the powertrain stuff in order so that they could launch the car with a more fuel-efficient suite of engines.
Right, or launch it with a hybrid at the same time, because usually the hybrid comes out a year or two later, and that totally makes sense.
And they're going to have a rear-wheel. I mean, the G8 will be out before then anyway, so it's not like they're neglecting the thing. And that's also, you know what, it would be good to put some distance between the G8 and the Impala, because it gives the Pontiac a little room to breathe all on its own.
Yeah, although they're limited, legs, in the marketplace.
But they're limited, of course, on just the number that they're able to import of that one. So.
Yeah, I can't wait till they show up. That'll be awesome. Rather awesome. Well, another GM news is we got some news today about the GM Volt. Speaking of fuel economy and
all that stuff.
Yeah, not easy being green and whatnot. I guess basically this press release from GM, or the statement from GM, is confirmation that they are putting money into the Volt program to put it into production.
Right.
Which, again, I think we already knew, or at least guessed, because it was kind of an obvious choice. But GM had been hesitating for so long, saying, well, it's the battery technology. Who knows the battery technology is going to be there, and the battery technology, and blah, blah, blah.
There's still a question.
Yeah. It's weird, because it's like, I think the battery technology really does exist. It's just a matter of, can the battery technology that exists hold up to the abuse that it would take in this application? Not only like the environmental abuse that it could see, in any given region in which it's sold, but also the abuse in terms of charging and recharging that many times in that application. I think that's the big question. I don't think some magic bullet battery technology is what they're waiting for. I think they're more waiting to see if the batteries we have now, these lithium ions can take it. But obviously, in this press release, it says the development of the car would cost $500 million. Dude, that's a steal.
I mean, didn't the new Commodore cost? The new Commodore cost $1 billion, but that's Australian dollars. So
yeah, still the amount of good PR you're going to get from this vehicle.
Of course, I mean this thing. Listen, a production Chevy Volt or GM Volt or whatever they would call the car when it came out would be so important to the company. I mean, you can't even really put it into words.
As far as I know, it would be the first mass-produced series hybrid rather than a parallel hybrid. In a passenger car application. Of course, you could buy your own locomotive and get a series hybrid if you'd like. But
it's because it's very practical.
Yeah, corners like it's on rails. But anyway.
Cool.
I've been waiting for a half hour to say that. Half hour. Anyway. It'd be a marvel of technology. It would be more significant than the Honda Insight when it was debuted. Or probably, I would say, anything in the last maybe like 30 years in terms of automotive technology.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm saying it.
You're saying it.
I'm putting that out there.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll
see, but we'll see. I'm on a limb. Now, the only thing I think I would be worried about right now is we have no idea what the packaging is going to be like, what it's going to look like. We could get something that looks like the Cobalt, which would not be good. Then again, the first generation Prius and the current one could argue, are complete disasters when it comes to design.
Yeah, but
it obviously
neither one is pretty. But they're buying. They're buying for a variety of reasons. So.
Yeah, many reasons. So the Volt really doesn't have to be pretty, but it would be nice. I mean, it wouldn't hurt, to be good looking.
The Volt would be the it car of that year, and several years after that.
It would allow you to drive 40 miles, the first 40 miles on pure battery alone, and I swear to God, I wouldn't have to buy a tank of gas for probably 6 months if I could do that. I swear to God, I hardly ever go over 40 miles a day.
It'd be pretty cool, but I'll believe it when I see it too.
All right, we have a skeptic.
I'm not a skeptic. I'm just, I'm not going to get all riled up about it. Listen, I understand why GM wants to keep the Volt front and center because it's a big deal concept car, and the idea is great, and it would be met with mass acclaim and probably huge consumer success. But by the same token, they just are, they also are obviously just trying to keep the Volt front and center in everyone's minds.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's vaporware right now because we really don't have a production intent car to play with or a mule or anything like that to see it in action. It would be great if they took this powertrain and just threw it in an Impala, a current production Impala, just to see what it would do, and let journalists play with it. I'd love to see.
Yeah, well, it would be really cool to see it in real world packaging like that.
Yeah. Well, you'd assume that as they're designing or developing the Volt, they're kind of developing this powertrain to be a plug-and-play system with their future platform.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be a flexible platform.
That would be smart. I mean, we already know that they can take out batteries and put in fuel cells, or not take out batteries, take out the internal combustion engine, and put in a hydrogen fuel cell, put in a diesel motor, and do, whatever, depending on the region it's sold in, which probably means we won't get any of the cool power generators, so we'll get the internal combustion engine, but not that the internal combustion engine isn't cool. It's not what I'm saying. Just saying.